The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Phixated Podcast. I am your host, Mike Azzolina, with a newly found skill, Grill Master Mike Azzolina, and I am joined by good buddy, best buddy, Regzy Boo. How you doing, man?
I gotta hear what took it over the edge that now you're proclaiming yourself to be a grill master.
I honestly don't know. So we got a new deck like a month ago.
Okay.
And I just like it's our old deck was such trash that I didn't want to be out there. Like I never wanted to grill because it was terrible to walk out. Boards were lifted. So we got a new deck, and I feel like now I want to be out there all the time. And my best excuse to do that is to grill until we get the TV set up out there. So I pretty much offer to grill every night. And 4th of July, I made amazing wings. I put out like a bunch of sauces. I didn't put any sauces on them. I just kind of seasoned them a little bit, but put no like sauces on. I was like, I'll let people choose what they want, and lined up like 8 different sauces. No one put any sauces on them. Everybody's like, doesn't need the sauce. Doesn't need the sauce, Mike. I was like, that's awesome. Yeah, you got your typical like burgers and things like that. Made some pork chops last night on there that were phenomenal.
There you go.
And made like a rosemary but like a spicy rosemary chicken tonight, that like chicken thigh. So oh dude, they were unreal. Andrea looked at me and was like, I think you've hit your pinnacle. Like I think you finally found your pinnacle in terms of grilling.
So did you find the recipe for the rosemary chicken? I'm assuming you looked it up and like.
Oh well, I sort of like what I did was I dug into our spices, and I was like, all right, we got this stuff. Let me see what I can make with this. I Googled it, and sure enough, that's what came up. But like grilling chicken's grilling chicken. Like after, you sort of cover it in your whatever, or soak it in whatever. Because a couple weeks ago, I did like Old Bay, soaked it in Old Bay for like 24 hours, some chicken in Old Bay, and then some in barbecue. For 24 hours, and that was fantastic.
Sounds
too.
Good.
But yeah, I mean, you look up like, how long it needs to sit in it, how long it needs to sit out before, after to get the full flavor.
Still got to cook it right.
That's right, man. I got to fly. So if you're watching on YouTube, I am swatting at it. What is your favorite thing to make? Because I think mine now is actually wings.
So I have a dilemma. I know if I start making my own wings, I'm going to make way too many and like way too often. And currently I'm the only one who eats them. So I've been holding off because I'm going to buy pounds at a time. Like if I like dial it in and really get it going, I'm going to be frying things. I'm going to be putting stuff on the grill. I'm going to deep dive, and it's going to be a problem. If I had to say, I mean, look, I know my way around a bratwurst or two.
There you go. There you go.
I feel like that and some hot Italian sausage links.
I always think of you when I go to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Because of just that.
Huge fan.
I'm going for Louisville this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, going for Louisville this year. So that's your grilling. So when we did the 4th of July, I made 4 bags of wings. We had none left over. None.
I love wings.
Yeah, me too. I only had like 4. Andrea put like 4 aside for me because I was out there going for it. So yeah, grilling is like it's a way to get me outside on the deck. Again, once the TV is out there, I might just live out there.
We're gonna need a picture of the setup once everything's going.
Yeah, our furniture is still up in the air. We're trying to decide between a couple of different pieces. Right now, we just have like tailgate chairs out there that we sit in. And the television, I'm not hanging it. I got like a rolling stand.
Yep.
Now I'm gonna put out there because I figured, you know what? I don't feel like we do have a spot on the siding that I could probably hang it on, but I don't feel super confident in that. Plus, I don't mind taking it in and out in storms and things of that nature. So,
Yeah, my
and then
buddy
we can
has
kind
his
of
on like a
maneuver
tripod.
it.
Yeah, my buddy
Yeah,
has his on a tripod, and it's hooked up to like
yeah,
one of those big Bluetooth speakers.
yeah. Then we can just maneuver it around
Mm-hmm.
the deck, whichever way we want to sit that night, or we're not, tied to one
All
thing.
right.
So,
Well, once it's up and going, that picture's got to make it to the Twitter page or something.
yeah, man, I'll make sure I put it out there. But you know what I'm most looking forward to? When I
Please.
can watch the Eagles out there on a really like beautiful fall day
Mm-hmm.
with my drink and just chilling on the
Yep.
furniture
And a hoodie
watching.
on, like just.
Yep, hoodie and shorts.
Yep, that's right.
Is there a better fall outfit?
It's what I live in most of the time.
I mean, that's my fall outfit. That's not in most of the time. Do you see my shirt tonight? You see this shirt?
Is that a Sandlot shirt? That's
It's
awesome.
Legends Never Die Sandlot shirt.
That's
I
awesome.
cleaned out my we're all over the place today.
We
This is
are.
a great opening. I cleaned out my closet this week. I usually do it once a year, but I realized I have so many awesome t-shirts that I just don't wear. And
Yeah.
this was one. So I have a great golf shirt that says life is full of choices. And it's got like 4 different clubs on it. So that might be
That's awesome.
next week's t-shirt. We're just gonna bust out a different t-shirt every week now.
I love it. Can't wait.
Mm-hmm. So you want to talk about Philly sports, or
Yeah, I mean, look,
should
this is
we
fun.
end there?
This is fun too.
We should just hang it up there.
We always said that this was just us sitting at the bar together, right? So
that's what that was. It's like I need my medicine or something right now. I'm all over the place tonight.
I loved
Holy
every second
moly.
of it.
I went from grilling to the deck to fall outfits.
But it all made sense though.
It all came
there was
around.
a timeline there. There was no like huge jump cuts there. We progressed.
The nice thing is it goes right into what we're going to talk about. We talked about me watching the Eagles on deck come fall, and we're going to talk about the Eagles first. We're going to just preview a little bit of training camp.
I'm coming over for one of those days, by the way.
Oh, you have to. What a day that'll be. We might have to find one where you don't have to work on Monday and I'm not traveling, because then just go drink for drink all day.
Yes, please.
I mean, it'd be even better, like a 4:30 game.
Yeah.
Like,
and then we get some golf in the morning.
That'd be key.
We get some golf in the morning.
Key.
Yep.
I'll start looking at dates.
All right.
So we're going to talk Eagles training camp. We're not going super in depth tonight. We're just kind of touching on the position groups and who we're excited about in those groups. We're going to talk a little bit about the storyline that we're most looking forward to throughout training camp. And then the one that has us a little nervous, like where are we at? What has us feeling some type of way as we head into camp? We are going to hit on the Phillies. We're going to do a midpoint sort of award thing. We're going to check back on our this or that from the preseason. It's not great. We are going to do a little Philly killer section. We talked about it last week. It kind of came up. So we're going to fill in those positions and make a lineup out of it. And then we are going to have a second half this or that. So I have 5 this or that's that we're going to talk through based on the first half moving into the second. So are you ready for all that, Regz?
I'm ready.
All right. So let's jump in. Let's go with the birds. We'll start with position groups. We're going to spend about a minute on each of these. And let's just start at the quarterback position. As of the moment, we know it's Jalen Hurts. We know it's Kenny Pickett. We know that McKee is still hanging around as well. I feel pretty good about the room as a whole. Obviously, it all hinges on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
There's no secret there.
Yeah.
And the health. I think the Eagles have really kept it on lock and key that the knee was banged up. It sounds like he had a deep bone bruise for most of last year, and it took away his legs. That'll clearly be different this year. I am interested, though. I thought Tanner McKee would be the clear backup. They would just bring in like an old dude to be his competition. Yeah. But it is Kenny Pickett. So I don't know if this is one of those like Howie ideas of we might trade him if we get a quarterback hungry team and get some value back, or if they're really thinking about, having Pickett just in case.
I got to think it's a just in case. It's to be quick. I think the running thing obviously has to continue to be a part of Jalen's game because it's what he's dynamic at, and the threat of it is almost more important than him actually doing it.
Yeah.
It's just his ability to do it every so often. But I think he is going to have to slowly dial it back because we talk about how strong he is, but he's not the biggest guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's just not. He's not Josh Allen. He's
Right.
not like a Ben Roethlisberger who even himself dealt with enough injuries, over the years. I'm Dak had the athleticism to run, but he, was much more of a pocket guy. And that's where Kellen's coming from. I'm really hoping that they're focusing on Jalen's pocket presence and his ability to read a pocket and step up in it. It's when he's at his best is when he can step up and he's not just instantly bailing. And that's what started happening a lot. It was the thing that came up in his rookie season. This is his tendency, even from college. He just bails at the first sign of trouble. There's not a lot of pocket presence. The Super Bowl year, he turned it around and was great. And then last year, we saw it come back. We saw those tendencies come back.
Right.
So we need Jalen to be uninjured, so the threat is always there because that makes this offense more dynamic. But I'm hoping what they've really been focusing on is his ability to sense a pocket and how to maneuver within it to continue to keep his eyes down the field.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be big for him. He did bail quite a bit last year, and that the throwing wasn't entirely accurate, but the whole year was weird.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Running back room. Saquon, Kenny Gainwell, drafted the kid from Clemson that I'm drawing a blank on who I love, and it's just slipping my mind. And
oh God, why can't I think of it either?
Will Shipley.
Thank you.
Shipley. And then a bunch of guys that they signed on sort of 1 year type prove it things. They took the guy from San Francisco out of LSU. It's Saquon's year.
Yeah.
They're gonna run him to death for the next year or two. He's gonna play 3 downs most series. We're not getting a ton of Kenny Gainwell and Will Shipley.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of fear in that, a little bit of hesitation just because of the injury history. But the deal really allows for 1 to 2 years. So I feel good about the room. I mean, he's the best back they've had ever. Not
since
ever.
Brian Westbrook or Shady.
Well, maybe since Shady.
Yeah.
To be fair, Shady.
No, yeah.
But even so, he's the best back they've had in almost a decade.
Yes.
And we're going to get to the offensive line. There's concerns there. However, it's still the best offensive line this guy's ever played.
I was about to say, he played on some pretty bad ones.
I think what he does for Jalen, if they're going to get back to some RPO stuff, is terrifying. I'm really excited about the running back room. I'm sort of out on Kenny at this point, and I've been a big Kenny guy, but I'm out there. But I'm all in on the Will Shipley train, baby.
There you go. I just think the biggest difference is that you can't take away what Jason Kelce brought to this run game. And in order to make up for that, the Eagles brought in their highest caliber running back, like you said, in a decade. So even if there are some slip ups from the right guard position or the center position, because these guys are playing their first professional seasons as NFL starters at these positions, you have to take that into account. So they kept some of the depth on the offensive line. They brought in some other guys, but they upgraded the running back position to hopefully make up for maybe a missed block here or there. Saquon has been around the block, man. He's going to see a lot of things and know what to do.
He's a really good blocker.
And he's got the ability to make stuff out of nothing. And so if the offensive line slips a little bit, we've seen this guy be successful behind some stinkers. And this is not a stinker. I'll go on the record. This is not a stinker. They're going to have their moments, But like you said, this is probably the best offensive line he's ever played behind.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to him. I think
Yeah, likewise.
that room is still strong.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see. I don't think Shipley's going to take the bulk. I think they're still going to lean on Gainwell, but at this point, you know what Gainwell is.
Yeah.
Like after a few years, you kind of have the feel for what he is, and I mean that you see glimpses. He basically carried them through the 2023 postseason. And
and for everyone saying like, oh, we shouldn't have paid Saquon that much, like the Giants still wanted to keep Saquon Barkley.
Oh, have you seen
on
that
all
stuff?
those
It is
clips?
wild.
But like they also wanted to pay him. Like it's not like this was. It wasn't that, oh, we're out on Saquon because we know his like the injury history is popping up, or we see something in what we look at that he's declining. It's like, nope, that's not what happened.
It was wild.
They made a decision to upgrade other places.
Yeah.
Because Daniel Jones is their quarterback. Good job, guys.
Already something else.
And so they decided they had to upgrade other positions to deal with the fact that they're paying Daniel Jones $30 million.
Yeah.
And Saquon was a luxury they couldn't afford. So thank you as always, Giants.
Oh yeah. I mean, just some real
Can we get a
good...
Can we get a Hard Knocks video of whatever the Mara guy, like when we actually signed him? I want the video of when.
Oh yeah, you haven't seen it?
Of when it actually happened?
Yeah, it's out.
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's
hilarious.
My
God, I need to see it. Okay,
it's hilarious.
I'm Googling it right now.
He looks devastated, and just like kind of like shoulder slumped.
Yep.
Walks out of the office. They have a really weird dynamic in that.
It is very weird.
Organization, very odd. Like they feel like they weren't prepared at all.
Oh, there it is. I found it
for free agency.
God, I can't wait to watch that. Oh my God,
I can't wait for you to watch it. All right, let's jump to the wide receiver room.
Okay,
very top heavy.
Yes,
not a lot of depth. So obviously AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Paris Campbell, Aeneas Smith, Britton Covey, Johnny Wilson. Then you got like John Ross, Shaq Davis.
Yeah. I mean, I know, like, we're going to talk about, this is my biggest concern, is if somebody tweaks something and is out for 3 or 4 weeks, who, like, I know Jalen has other people to throw to, but we are so reliant on those guys being who they are that if someone even sprains an ankle, like, it's going to get ugly quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. They've been very lucky health-wise.
Yes.
You know, AJ basically has played every game outside of the last 2 of last year. Devontae's always on the field.
Yeah.
Except for that Giants game last season. And we saw what the offense looks like without AJ in the playoffs. Now,
I mean, not to take away from Devontae, who played his
he was fantastic. Yeah, he was fantastic.
But the offense in general suffers greatly.
For sure. Now, Paris Campbell is a guy that was drafted high, has the pedigree. However, hasn't shown it at the NFL level. You know, they've asked Sirianni a ton. The media has asked him a ton. You know, what about third wide receiver? What about third wide receiver? And his answer has been, you look at his third wide receiver, but it's technically 5th or 6th offensive option. Brown is clearly number 1.
Yes.
Devontae's 2. Saquon falls somewhere in there. Goddard is in there too.
Yep.
And Jalen can fit in there too because of his legs. And I get that. However, if an injury, like you said, should occur, who is playing on the outside?
Well, I think that's where the focus has to shift. The focus is not on like how good can your third wide receiver be because he's going to be involved a ton. It's insurance. It's an insurance policy. It's not you're here to like get a bunch of production from your third wide receiver. That's not the goal. The goal is to have an insurance policy because it's the freaking NFL and guys get hurt all the time.
Yeah.
and you can't just have a 0 come in for a 10 and expect your offense to be good or run the same.
Yeah.
And to this point, we have no trust in this team to make adjustments.
No.
Like, we have to see it to believe it, right? We have to see it to believe it. And like, why would we have faith in them to make an adjustment if one of their wide receivers goes down?
Correct. So I do anticipate that they will add at the position, whether it's via trade, because they have a crazy enough, I can't believe I'm saying this, a slew of options at corner that they could easily flip a corner for a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
So I do anticipate some more depth there because you just can't go into the year. Now, if you're talking strictly third wide receiver or kind of slot, you can move guys around because their third wide receiver the last couple of years is Quez Watkins.
Right.
And I'd anticipate you can probably get more out of a Paris Campbell just because the natural pedigree. He hasn't played in good spots. I mean, he was a giant the last 2 years, for crying out loud. Like, their quarterbacks we know what that looked like. So there's a little bit of hope there, but I still think they need like that guy who, if someone goes down, you can put him on the outside and there's some form of threat or hope.
Oh yeah, I
So
completely agree. Completely agree.
Still rooting for John Ross though.
There you go.
For John Ross. All right, move to the tight end room, and again, depth is a problem. They chose to avoid it in the draft. It wasn't a great draft for tight ends. We talked about this.
Yeah.
It's Dallas Goedert, CJ Uzoma, Grant Calcaterra, and Albert O. Goddard is option 4 now, I think, essentially for the offense, option 3 in the passing game.
Yeah.
It's all about health with him, man. Like, he's not going to score a ton of touchdowns because once you get in the red zone, like, AJ Brown can make plays down there. Devontae can make plays down there. Jalen can make plays with his legs. And I got
now
Saquon.
That's right. Yeah.
So, Dallas kind of has to score his own touchdowns, which he does often, like on those screens or ball. Like, he fights his way there. But that's also how injuries occur.
Yeah.
After Dallas, like CJ Uzoma and Grant Calcaterra, who's also an injury tight end. I don't love the room, man. I don't love the depth unless Dallas can stay healthy.
I mean, I'm with you. I don't think there's much to say here. I'm with you. Dallas has to stay healthy.
Yeah. Glad we agree. All right, let's move to the offensive line before we shoot to the defense.
All right.
Left to right, Mailata, Dickerson, Juergens, Steen, Johnson. Now, I still think right guard is entirely up in the air.
Yeah.
I believe that there's a chance Mekhi Becton ends up playing guard for them. They don't sound married to Steen at all. It's very much up in the air conversation. We've talked on the show about Sua Opeta starting over him when he was healthy last year. And Opeta's okay.
Yeah.
But they drafted Tyler Steen in the 3rd round.
Right.
Like, you expect that guy to be able to play.
Yeah.
So, look, Becton is a former top 10 pick. Injuries are the only thing that have hindered his career to this point. So if he's healthy and he's willing to play guard, which it sounds like he is, then he might be the guy. He and Lane Johnson will be an impossible.
Aren't they both like 6'7"?
Well, I mean, just think about, and we don't know. I want to talk about Cam in a second here, but think about the left and right sides, like Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, just
yes,
enormous human beings. Put Mekhi Becton next to Lane Johnson. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
So let's focus on Cam Juergens, because I think that right guard battle is going to be really interesting. Might actually come later in our conversation here.
Yeah.
I know we keep hearing, how are they going to replace Jason Kelsey's leadership? How are they going to replace his leadership? And I've said to you before, and I believe I've said it on this very show, how are you going to replace the Hall of Famer?
Well,
like,
yeah.
The guy who
the perennial
calls out
All-Pro
plays, the guy who blocks well, runs well, like, it's still Jason freaking Kelsey.
I mean, and the guy who on a Tuesday will tell you your game plan is shit.
Yeah. So look, I don't want to put all that on Cam Jurgens. We got to give him a chance to play.
Absolutely.
Also, the idea of like Jason Kelsey never missed a football game is important.
Yes.
Cam Jurgens is yet to play a full season in 2 years.
Yeah.
He was playing out of position against much bigger guys. So I do think the switch over to center, he held his own at guard. He really
For
did
sure.
when he was healthy. So I don't want to completely just throw him out the window, but I do want to set the temperature in the room a little bit of like, let's just not immediately feel like he's got to be Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
It's just not going to be that way.
Oh,
We're
for
replacing a
sure.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
So we got to give the kid time. And he was handpicked by Jason. So I don't know. Anything else you want to add there?
No, I think you're exactly right. I think we have to give him some leeway. He's replacing a Hall of Famer. Like, it's not easy. Pick your sport. Try and replace a Hall of Famer with someone else.
Right.
Listen, by all measures, Cam Jurgens is probably not going to be a Hall of Famer. It is what it is. Could he prove us wrong? Absolutely. Do I hope he does? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't happen. Like, if you just look at the history of sports, it just doesn't happen. The next two guard for the Warriors is not going to be Steph Curry. Like, it's just how it works. It's just how it works. These guys are one in a million for a reason. Do I think he can be a competent starting NFL center? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
But that's the bar we have to set. The
Sure,
bar is not at Jason Kelsey. So I think that he will be fine. I think his natural position is center. I think that the fact that he has the endorsement of Jason Kelsey as the guy, like you said, Jason Kelsey picked to replace him essentially,
right,
is a huge deal. It's not going to be great all the time, and we're just going to have to deal with that. But it is what it is.
I do like their depth here too. I like Fred Johnson. I like Matt Hennessy. Trevor Keegan is coming from a winning college program. Dylan McMahon reminds me a lot of Cam Jurgens' athleticism. They picked up Darian Kennard and then Mekhi Becton. So they're pretty deep there. I feel good about the offensive line compared to where they were for the draft and free agency.
Not to spoil anything, but I think that Michigan kid might have a chance.
Yeah, I do
think there's
too.
something to say about coming from that kind of place.
Yeah,
and
but they strictly during minicamp he was playing left guard, and he ain't starting at left guard, at least not right away. So it might take time, but it's possible. All right, now they're running a 3-4. It feels like in some capacity, your typical 3-4. But let's just talk about defensive tackle off the bat. Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Marlon Tuipulotu. It took me like 5 years, but I finally got it. And Moro Ojomo, who I do think is got some. There's a skill set there. So a young group, a very young group. No Fletcher Cox.
Yeah,
I do anticipate a signing off the street here in the next month or so. This is the second position where I still think they're going to add. Wide receiver is 1, defensive tackle is 2, and I do believe that there's a third one. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I like the group, but it does come down to, can Jalen Carter and Jordan play the snaps necessary for them to be successful?
Yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Can those two guys step up and be who we expect them to be?
Jalen Carter is now the best player on the defense in year 2.
Yeah.
He is what they're building this defense around.
Yes.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
All right, edges. Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Nolan Smith, Zach Bond, Jalix. It's certainly a thing.
It is certainly a thing. I mean, like,
Regz, I don't know what to say.
This is, I think, the group that has the most to prove. We don't know if Bryce Huff can play the amount of downs as a starting defensive end. He has been a platoon player for his career. Josh Sweat had a terrible season last year.
Yeah, the second half was bad.
And so did a lot of people, but
yeah, he was noticeable.
It was noticeable. It was like Bradbury-esque noticeable.
Yep.
And look, can Brandon Graham come in and give you a couple good plays? Of course he can. He is there to help focus these guys and lead this defensive line. That's what he's there for.
Yeah.
This is on Huff and Sweat, man. This is if these two guys can step up.
I'm going to push back a little bit.
All right.
I also think it's on Nolan Smith too. You take this kid at the end of the first, like top of the second round, and he showed signs last year. There were spots. We all saw it.
Yeah.
Like the speed, the explosiveness, it's all there. But he looked little.
Yeah.
And if they're going to get the best out of Brandon Graham, I think back to the Super Bowl season and some of the best Brandon Graham moments, the Super Bowl winning season, not the losing one.
Yeah.
But that's where they went, like, they called it NASCAR, remember?
They lined him up at D-tackle.
They move him inside.
Mm-hmm.
If Nolan Smith cannot produce, they're going to have a really hard time because Brandon Graham's going to have to play more snaps than necessary.
Yeah.
And he's not able to, dude, he's our age.
Yeah, right.
Like that, you can't ask him to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, they asked Fletcher Cox to do it last year. It's phenomenal. But you can't ask him to do that. So this position really does concern me. I am anxious to see if they do line up Zach Ball this way, because he was taking most of the first team snaps in minicamp. So I'll be curious to keep an eye on him. He'll be another name to sort of watch. And then Jalix Hunt, the really high risk pick they took in the third round.
We have to see if that guy has it at all.
Out of Houston Christian, he's going to get a lot of special team snaps, but I am excited to see if he gets on the field, if he flashes at all, and hopefully we get a chance to see that at some point, even if it's in blowout wins preferably.
Yes.
All right, linebacker. God, I look at this depth chart and I'm still like, oh my gosh, are we even going to be okay this year? Like, is this going to be a thing? Nakobe Dean, Devin White, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Oren Burks, Ben Van Sumeren. Deeper than last year. This isn't the place where I think they're going to add, but they still could. Like, Zach Cunningham could still come back and be the sixth linebacker, and that'd be totally because he was passable when he had to play. He ended up having to be the best linebacker on the team, which wasn't great. But if he's like the third or fourth or fifth or sixth linebacker, fine.
Yeah.
Totally fine. This really falls on Devin White and Nakobe. Plain and simple. End of story. I don't put anything on Jeremiah Trotter.
No.
Oren Burks he's a backup who played important snaps in San Francisco. And then Ben Van Sumeren is just there in case everybody.
Yeah.
A ton of talent and a ton of instincts, but he's a safety turn linebacker. He's still not there.
Yeah.
It comes down to Nakobe Dean and Devin White. The talent's there. Both of these guys can play. But are they going to be disciplined enough? And in Nakobe's instance,
healthy enough. Yeah. No,
so
nothing else to add.
All right. And we moved it. Let's go to safety. We'll come back to corner to end it. CJ Gardner-Johnson, Reed Blankenship, Sidney Brown, Tristan McCullum, Andre Sam. This is the place where I'm positive they're going to grab somebody else, because Sidney Brown might not even be ready for the start of the year.
Right.
Their safeties are CJ GJ, who injuries are a thing. Reed Blankenship, who randomly gets hurt because he's flying all over the place trying to murder people on the field. And that leaves you with Tristan McCullum and Andre Sam. And I'm going to promise you this. If those are your safeties, you're not winning a football game.
Yeah.
The middle of the field was a problem for them last year.
Yes.
And that's not going to change if those two are playing safe. So I do anticipate them adding somebody. There are still people floating around in free agency. A veteran that we've all talked about. I'm not even going to mention his name here because I don't want to jinx it, but I do believe he'll end up being an Eagle. He spent a lot of time with Vic before, so I do think that there's a real possibility there. But I love the combination of Reed and CJ. We saw it before. It was very productive.
Yep.
So that I'm thrilled with that. And don't forget that although we're going to mention him with the corners, Avonte Maddox can play safety. So can Cooper DeJean.
Yes.
So they do have some chess pieces. And that allows for them to do that. Just something else to consider.
Yeah.
All right. So corner. It's amazing to me how deep this team is at corner.
Isn't that weird?
Because
Isn't
last
that weird?
year,
Yeah.
it was the bane of our existence.
Exactly.
And I do think there's a bigger conversation to have here. Maybe we have it today. Maybe it's now. Maybe it's in the next part. Quinyon Mitchell, James Bradbury technically still there. Zach McPherson, Eli Ricks, Darius Slay, Isaiah Rogers, Keely Ringo, Josh Jobe, Avonte Maddox, Cooper DeJean, Tyler Regz. I just read 11 names. And I mentioned them all. I've left other names off, but I do all of these guys. There's something to talk about. Darius Slay's 100% starting.
Yes.
James Bradbury is 100% not going to be on this team.
Great.
That puts you at 10. You can still deal from depth here.
Yeah.
Whether that's Eli Ricks feels like the most likely one to go because they're going to keep Avonte and Cooper because of their versatility and they just they're now at a point where if Avonte gets hurt, they can slide Cooper DeJean in.
Yeah.
Done and done. That's really helpful. I'm going to save what I want to say here for the next part because I think it's my thing to watch. But I do think that this is a position of depth that they have not had before, and I'm very excited about it. And I'm just going to leave it there.
Yeah,
I think
when have we talked about the cornerback room of the Eagles in this way? Like that's the highlight.
Mm-hmm. So let's jump into the storyline. Let's start here. The storyline you're most nervous about as we head into training camp next week. What's the thing that has you most nervous going into 2024 training camp? They are like 3 weeks from their first preseason game.
The fact that Jalen might not like Nick Sirianni.
I thought that was going to be.
That's what I'm most nervous about.
Yeah, I thought so. That's fair. I don't even know that we've talked about it. I don't know their explanation.
I don't know what to expand on. Let's hope he really loves Kellen Moore and just can, completely bypass the Sirianni thing. But to this point, I have no other information and it makes me nervous.
Yeah, and quarterbacks gotta be happy. I think for me, Regz, the thing that has me most looking the roster as a whole and not feeling like we're much different than last year. Like as I look at it in totality, I'm like, all right, yeah, we got better, we got deeper at corner, which was a huge problem.
Yes.
But like linebacker, I don't know.
It depends.
Safety, I don't know. Our best player on defense is retired. Arguably our best player on offense is retired. So for me, I'm most nervous about are these yes, offensively still have AJ Brown, still have Devontae Smith. We now have Saquon freaking Barkley. But can our defense actually stop anyone?
Yeah.
We talked about them just needing to be middle of the pack.
Yeah.
Can Vic Fangio make this group middle of the pack? The names are there. Can they stay healthy and can they come together to make a full season happen?
Yeah.
All right. What's the storyline you're most looking forward to? The one that you're like, I'm psyched about following this through training camp.
I'm most psyched to follow the storyline of Quinyon Mitchell being the guy. Okay. And just proving through training camp, you drafted me here and this is who I am.
Okay.
Because it jacks me up to for the Eagles to have someone great in the secondary because it doesn't happen a lot. And I just have a feeling this kid is going to show out and just be like, you want to start someone else over me? You might be able to give it a week or two, but this is not happening, man. It's not happening.
So it's funny because my thing I'm most looking forward to is the cornerback competition. To me, Darius Slay is starting. You
Yes.
said that. I don't know that Quinyon is 100% starting, right?
No, like I said, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think it'll probably be Rick's, honestly.
No, I actually think it's gonna be Ringo.
Oh no, Ringo, right. That's what I meant. Yes. Thank you.
And here's why I'm okay with that. Because a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, but we drafted him in the first round, sort of like you just said. And I know what was. It wasn't that, but he fell to them. They didn't move up for him. They didn't aggressively try and go get him. He fell into their lap. So he can not sit here, but because we know Darius is going to end up getting hurt at some point. But like thinking about it, giving Ringo the full year to start and allowing Quinyon to eventually like just move into that role and it becomes necessary. I mean, you got your starting cornerbacks now. Those two, and from everything that I read and heard during minicamp, and it's minicamp, I know this, but everything that I read and heard was how well Keely Ringo played.
Oh yeah, I think the year of experience like really helped him. Didn't he came from Alabama, right? Ringo?
Georgia.
Okay, so again, a premier college in college football. This guy is not is not like some come out of nowhere guy.
Yeah.
And I completely agree. I'm just excited. I feel like Quinyon's a guy who for his whole life has just been the guy from the little school. You stayed at the small school. You could have gone to Alabama, right? Nick Saban says on national TV, this is the number one guy we wanted to bring over in the transfer portal. And he said no to Nick Saban and Alabama. And I just think this kid is coming in with just so much to prove that I can't wait to watch him just go out there and get it.
Right.
And I don't I think they'll probably split a lot. Like they're just gonna and hopefully look, now you have Darius Slay and two guys who can really play. That's fantastic because you know what? Darius Slay is 31 years old. And over 30 corners don't typically last in the NFL. So to have two guys who are ready to go is a great place to be.
Sure.
I just am. A lot of minicamp was about Ringo getting the snaps and people thinking maybe Quinyon was going to get in, things like that. I am just, like you said, excited to have some dudes.
Yeah. We haven't had this in a long time.
It's been a very long time.
So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be something to just keep at the forefront and appreciate because it's just not been something that we've had. And it's the storyline that I'm most excited about. I can't wait to hear about this battle. And don't forget, he's not going to start. He's the third on the list.
Yep.
But don't forget Isaiah Rodgers and all.
Yeah.
Because he showed out during camp too. I mean, I know a lot of people kind of like, we'll see. He hasn't played in a while. But apparently he was everywhere during camp.
Yeah.
He picked off Jalen quite a few times.
Yeah.
So we'll have to just, keep an eye on it and see what happens. But I do believe that we're in for a fun battle.
Can't wait.
So let's move to the Phils. Do you want to start with our midpoint awards or do you want to do the killers first?
Let's do our awards first.
All right. So we are at the unofficial midpoint, 96 games in. And the Phillies have the best record in baseball, lead the division by 8 games. And we wanted to take a moment to celebrate or maybe criticize just a few guys. And so we're going to do 4 awards. MVP and Cy Young, clearly. Biggest surprise and biggest disappointment are the other 2 that we're going to flow through. We'll start with biggest surprise. Regz, who was your biggest surprise in the first half of the 2024 baseball season? Who surprised you the most for the Fightins?
This one's going to be a little out of left field because I think there might be better answers, but I just love this one so much. Like, it's Kyle Schwarber's batting average.
Oh, okay. That's a fun one. Yeah.
This guy is as maligned as a
that.
leadoff hitter as anyone in the entire league.
Not on this show.
No, absolutely. We've always been Kyle supporters. Again, shout out to Kyle for taking a picture with my boys at the zoo.
Love that.
He got in better shape. He committed to not just being a home run, strikeout, walk guy.
Right.
And I don't know, like, whatever you want to talk about, this dude gets on base as good as any leadoff hitter in the entire of Major League Baseball. He's hitting better than Bryson Stott, for God's sakes. Did you ever think we'd say Kyle Schwarber has a better batting average than Bryson Stott?
Sure didn't.
He, at age, what is he, 30, 3?
No, Kyle's like 30.
Is he really? God, I always think
he's younger than Bryce.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Is that real?
Yes.
Anyway, he looks like he's 34.
He turned 31 on March 5th.
Okay. Anyway, as a guy who's not known as this, has some injuries, was very non-athletic yet last year, his ability to put the ball in play and continue to walk as much as he does and get on base, and still he's probably going to hit 35 home runs this year. Like, what else do you want from him, people?
Yeah.
What else are you looking for? And he continues to set the tone for this team, to be the leader in the clubhouse. And the fact that he turned it around to be hitting almost 250 is wild. And I think is one of the reasons this team has been so good.
Agree 100%. Bryce turns 32 in October. Just so we're...
That's wild. He looks like he's as old as we are.
Yeah, no, yeah. And I just want to point out, you're right about the batting. He's hitting 250. But I want to once again point out, because this matters even more. The dude's OBP is 380.
Yeah, exactly.
380. He is on pace to walk just over 100 times this year. It's wild, Regz.
Yeah.
It's wild. They need to consider extending for at least...
I never want Kyle Schwarber to be on any other baseball team.
Another year or two after this. And I don't think Kyle wants to be anywhere else. I'm going to go a little more obvious here. And I actually thought you were going to do this, but it's Sanchi for me.
It was, don't think he was.
I love yours. I think yours is phenomenal. But Chris Sanchez, my Lord.
Yeah.
When you consider what he's done and what they've been able to do in locking him, because even, and I know I've said it, I'm beating the dead horse here, but after the next few years, when free agency is supposed to hit, if he's still pitching like this, what a bargain at 14 and 15 million.
Oh yeah.
Like the other night, dude comes in the All-Star game, throws 2 pitches and gets 2 weak ground balls.
Yep. I mean, he's got one of the lowest hard hit rates in the entirety of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And I'm like you said, I'm with you. He was my, like, if you're going chalk, Chris Sanchez is the choice.
He's chalk.
Yeah.
All right. Biggest disappointment.
I mean, it's Bryson Stott.
Yeah. It's something. Did you see his post the other day?
About like kind of like getting going. Yeah.
Yeah. Look,
listen, we love Bryson Stott.
Right.
I am going to die on this hill. This baby thing made a difference.
Yeah.
I'm dying on this hill. There's no other.
I just don't get
like
it.
When like we've talked about privately, like you heard the one time Thompson, and you've talked about it on the show. The one time Thompson said he showed up early.
Yeah.
Right? To get more work in. What stops you from doing that? A newborn.
Yeah.
Like what other life events stop this guy from being at the ballpark? early every day. And I'm not faulting him for it. Listen, man, you spend time with your kid. I'm not faulting you. I'm not doing anything. We're not speculating. I'm not faulting you. I get it, man. Trust me, I get it. I just think it affected him in a profound way, and he hasn't been. It even hurts me to say this, and I don't even want to say it. I don't even want to say that he's not putting in the proper time, because by all accounts, he's a great teammate. His defense has continued to be fantastic. I'm not saying Bryson Stott hasn't been putting in the time. I don't think the extra time has been committed to baseball. His extra time has been committed to his family, which is not a bad thing. Let me say again, I'm not faulting him for that. I am not doing that. But a guy like Bryson Stott, who's not Bryce Harper or Trey Turner, who can just flow through these life events and still be like the greatest player in baseball, you know who still needs to work? Bryson Stott. You know who still needs to work? Alec Bohm. You think a baby would affect Alec Bohm's life? I bet you it would. Aaron Nola's figured it out. Zach Wheeler's figured it out. But like, this stuff hits different. And I think Bryson is dealing with a pull of his time, and he hasn't figured it out yet. And look, do I think he can? Of course I do. Of course I do. He just hasn't yet. And it's like, it's a real hole in this lineup with him doing what he's doing. It's a real thing.
So I'm between two things here. One's a little less serious than the my first one is Brandon Marsh still not being able to hit lefties.
Yeah.
Is just and I know they're working on it. The guy just rakes righties. If he could just figure it now, look. So we're halfway there. If we could just get him to figure out how to be like even just passable against left-handed pitching. 7 for like 70 is not gonna come.
No, it's not great. I mean, but like you said, he couldn't hit it all when we got him. So
right. So
we're getting there.
I know he's working with Kyle, who's really changed.
Did you read that Gelb article?
Lefties. Yeah. Really changed his approach against lefties, and clearly it's worked.
Yes.
With the way he's hitting this year. My other one, less serious note, are the fans who just can't freaking enjoy this team, that are so concerned about Garrett Stubbs still being the backup, that like just finding the crap to complain about that doesn't matter for a team who's on pace to win 106 games.
I love that Jack puts at the bottom of every tweet, the Phillies are now whatever and whatever with Garrett Stubbs behind the plate. It's a winning record, by the way.
They're 21-10.
Yeah.
Like, what other backup in baseball would be 21? And Rafi Marchand's been fantastic.
Yeah.
But, like, can we give credit where it's due? Stubbsy's been fine.
Yes.
So that's my other one. Cy Young, go ahead.
So, I think who wins it? Oh, I think someone who's going to not come out of nowhere. But here's a wild take. I think Nola finishes higher than Wheeler or Ranger.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm talking at the midpoint, but
at the midpoint, it's Zach Wheeler.
Okay.
I still just take Zach Wheeler over anybody else.
Yeah, I'm not going to differ here. I don't think. I mean, Ranger was good.
Ranger was fantastic.
Right, he was great, but pure consistency and pure dominance. Now, look, I don't, just because he wasn't on the All-Star game, I don't want to shortchange Knowles. And you're right. I do think he's going to end up getting votes. I don't know if he's going to have more than Wheels at the end of all this.
It's a bold take. I get it.
But no, it's fair. But definitely more than Ranger.
Yes.
Sanchez is going to be up there too.
Yeah.
But Aaron Nola, second in the league in innings, second in the league in wins. I get it. The guy gives up a home run or two in an outing.
The best,
Come on.
The best thing I heard is that go look at Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery's ERA and how many innings they've pitched.
Yep.
And what, 60-70% of the Phillies fan base wanted one of those guys
over Nola.
more than Aaron Nola.
And let's also point out, us included, we wanted Yamamoto.
Well, yeah.
Guy's not going to pitch till the end of August.
He went on the 60, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
That would put him at the end of August.
Yeah.
It's just the availability that Aaron Nola gives you. It's just unbelievable. MVP.
I mean, it's Bryce Harper.
Yeah,
I'm taking that back. It's Trey Turner.
Yeah, I don't discount it, but I was going to say, like, let's give credit due. Trey has been freaking awesome.
I take it back. It's Trey Turner.
If Trey doesn't get hurt, he's in that conversation.
Oh my God, yes.
That will be joining us later, actually. So, let's jump into. We'll save Philly Killers for last. It'll be a fun way to. Let's do the this or that.
Yeah.
For the first half. So we did a game earlier in the preseason, spring training, where I gave like 10 different things. 12, I think it was. It was either this or that. What's more likely to happen? We both voted.
Yep.
So I'm going to run through those real quickly. This or that, Trey Turner, 50 stolen bases. Alec Boehm, 30 home runs. We both voted for Turner. Well, the injuries have taken...
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
He has 12.
I feel like we got to pass for that. He got hurt.
Yeah. Boehm has 11 homers. Probably not getting to 30.
No.
22 to 25 is possible. Okay, second one. This or that. Rojas hits 240 or Marsh hits 300. Marsh is hitting 265. Rojas is hitting 231. You voted for Rojas. I voted for Marsh. So you're closer in this act. Ranger, 30 starts. Taijuan Walker, 15 wins. You voted for Ranger. I voted for Ty.
I feel like I'm doing better.
Ranger has 19 starts. We'll see if he makes a start in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Taijuan has 3 wins. I don't even remember what those were. This one is hilarious. Orion Kerkering to 20 saves. Seranthony Dominguez to 20 saves. They have a combined 1. So
you were on the Kerkering will be the closer train.
I was
preseason.
Yeah, I was.
Like again, nothing wrong with that, but
yeah, I was. This one we got to wait on. Phil's what's more likely? Phil's to win the division. We both took World Series. So maybe both come true.
Can't wait.
All right. This or that. JT has the higher batting average with runners in scoring position. Or Nick Castellanos has the higher batting average with runners in scoring
Not even
position.
sure what the answer is.
I took JT. You took Nick.
It's hopeful.
JT is hitting 175.
Oh my God.
Nick's hitting 235. So there you go.
I don't know if I feel good about it, but great.
Phillies relievers. 4 relievers with 10 or more saves, or 6 hitters with 20 or more home runs. You took the relievers. I don't think they're going to have more than 2 with 20 or more
probably
saves.
not.
And right now, Hoff has 11 and Jose has 13. Home run wise, here's where they're at. Kyle has 19. Harp already has 21.
Yeah, check those boxes.
Nick is 13.
He'll get there.
Alec has 11.
He'll get to 20.
Trey has 11.
Trey will get there.
So that's 5 if all those guys reach. So they would need JT or Brandon to get to 20. JT is 7.
Okay.
I don't know that he's enough games to get there.
Yeah.
Brandon has 9.
Brandon will maybe get to like 17 or 18.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. So they're going to probably get 5.
Yeah.
Not 6. And we talked about 5 being a surety.
Yeah.
Like, that was a certainty.
Yeah.
We weren't sure about 6, which is why we made more games started in center field.
No, yeah.
Rojas or Pache? You remember what we voted?
I voted Pache.
We both did.
He's been
Pache
terrible.
He has started 16 games. Rojas has started 67.
Yeah. They really gave a long leash to Rojas. Like, I don't think we anticipated that.
They did. We have to wait on the Gold Glovers.
Yes.
And the Silver Sluggers. The last one was 20 wins in April or 20 wins in August. So we have to wait on August. They had 19 in April. So we both voted April. Or no.
I mean,
we both voted
they did
April.
start much better than we thought they would.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Just a fun little exercise.
It was great.
Let's hope we do better on these 5. All right, here's number 1. This or that. The Phillies will have a record greater than 500 after the break. So 66 games to play. They'd have to have 34 wins or more. Or they will have a record less than 500. Now, it's important to note they have the 6th or 7th most difficult schedule the rest of the way. They go out of the break. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Minnesota. Somewhere in there are the Yankees. And then the Dodgers. What say you?
Over 500.
Yeah, I agree with you. I still think they're the best team in baseball.
I think that
everything's healthy.
I think, yeah, right, of course. I think that A's series weirdly locked them in for after the All-Star break.
Yeah, they were not happy.
No.
They were not
I
happy.
think that weirdly locked them in for look, did we take our foot off the gas? Of course we did. We had just swept the Dodgers. But like we talked about, that team has not done that a lot. And I think they saw what happens when they take their foot off the gas. And I think they lock right back in.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do this one. This or that, which is more likely. The Bryson Stott turnaround or the Phillies outfield turnaround. So Stotty turns it around and picks it up, or the collective outfield of Nick Castellanos and some combination of Brandon Marsh, Weston Wilson, Johan Rojas, or a tradable or a traded for player turn the outfield production upside down.
I'm going outfield.
I'm going to go Stotty.
Listen, my heart wants Brett Stott. Trust me.
Yeah. I'm going to go Stotty here. I do believe he's going to turn it around. I have no reason to believe the outfield won't. But I have a lot more reasons to believe he will.
Yeah, I think the outfield is because of the trade piece that we're going to get.
Yeah.
In my heart of hearts, I want Bryson Stott to turn around.
I agree with you. Speaking of that outfield, which is more likely? They add the platoon Marsh bat or the everyday outfielder to the roster at the deadline.
Yeah. Mine's the platoon bat with the bullpen arm.
I think they're going all in. Everyday bat. Everyday bat. I don't have a rhyme or reason. I just feels like they're going to go all in. Okay. Let's do this one. Who will have more MVP votes at the end of the year? Bryce Harper or Trey Turner?
Yeah, I wish it was Trey, but Bryce Harper.
Yeah, it's probably Bryce. It's just a fun question.
The 6 weeks sucked. If those 6 weeks didn't happen, I think
his numbers
Trey.
Are going to be out of control.
I think it's Trey. If those 6 weeks don't happen, it's Trey.
I just don't know that the at bats are going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Can he get enough at bats?
Right.
To qualify? Because if he does, it's going to be hard not to vote for him.
Yeah.
Especially if he keeps up the torrid pace he's on.
Yeah.
So something to keep.
I just love that people forgot how good Trey Turner was.
I know. I say it every day. I'm like, people are watching the real Trey Turner. Like, it's so fun. Okay, last one. Picture a brisk night in November. The Phillies are leading the World Series 3-1. Okay. So it's no, let's do 3-2. They're at home. 3-2. It's the 9th inning of a 5-3 game. Out comes the closer. Is the closer Jeff Hoffman, Jose Alvarado, or a guy not on the roster yet?
So I say, can I say Ryan Helsley? I'm going to take that back because I want to pick between Hoff and Alvarado because I love this question. It's Jeff Hoffman.
Okay. I'm good with that because I also love Jeff Hoffman. So I'll agree with you. However, can we also just agree that a Jose Alvarado series celebration?
Oh my God. I think he would take his pants off.
Would be an all-timer?
Yeah. I think he would take his pants off.
It would be an all-timer.
It'd be the best.
That being said, it's very possible that 9th inning belongs to somebody not on the roster yet.
Yeah.
A lot of smoke on Mason Miller this week.
That's not happening.
A lot of smoke.
Listen.
A lot of smoke.
The dude's got it. Like, good Lord. But I think he's not going to have an elbow in 9 months.
Never know. All right. Let's have some fun to end this show. It's been a good one. I've enjoyed this show.
It's been great.
All right. So we've talked about Phillies killers the last few episodes. They just tend to come up based on who they're playing because every team seems to have them. So I went and I put together a Phillies killer list. No pitchers. I mean, you could make a list of those, but they're a little harder. I have 8 position players, a DH, and 2 bench bats, believe it or not.
Love it.
So I'll run through them. I'll pause if you have anything to say.
Yep.
I'll start in right field. I didn't realize how much this guy destroyed the Vladimir Guerrero.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, I didn't realize it. I guess I sort of forgot his expos.
Yeah.
But goodness, did he murder them? Center field. I'm working backward if you haven't figured it out. Andrew Jones felt like the real easy.
Yep.
Like
that's an easy one. Yep.
Yeah, that one was just chalk. And there's another Brave that's chalk on.
Yeah.
Actually, 2.
I was about to say there's a few.
All right, left field, maybe not like his entire career, but there was a certain point in his career, and you mention this guy's name, and every Philly fan shivers. Cody effing Ross.
Oh my God.
Yeah. You're welcome.
I haven't thought of that guy in a while.
Yeah, I think of him every day. Whenever I look at my Roy Halladay shelf in my cabinet, I think of that asshole. Shortstop. Still in the league. Doesn't play for the team he killed them the most with. He's out west now. Miguel Rojas.
Yeah.
Goodness, when that guy was a Marlin.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. An absolute nightmare.
Seriously.
Third base. Clearly. Chipper Jones.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Now, second base had a few. So I didn't really lock in on one. If you have one that
I was trying to think of second base. For some reason, second base is like the position that I tried to think of, and I couldn't think of one.
So stat-wise, Danny Espinosa, he had 40 career home runs or something like that, and like 10 of them were against the Phillies. So
that's pretty good.
There was also Dan Ugla, who for a little bit killed them, but then didn't kill
with
them
the
anymore.
Marlins.
Yeah. And it's always a freaking Marlin.
I know, right?
And the other one goes way back, but this fits and tracks entirely because they traded him. Ryan Sandberg.
Yeah.
Had some ridiculous numbers against the Phillies in his career. First base, Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, of course.
Good God.
Just
have
good God.
Like, have you looked at his numbers against the Phillies?
No, I don't want to.
Okay.
I think I'm afraid.
No, I challenge anybody to go look those numbers. Catcher, there were 2. I wrote them both down. I have Brian McCann as like the starter.
That's the one I thought of.
Mike Piazza also
Oh, God.
murdered the Phils. just
I
murdered.
think I hated Mike Piazza more, but Brian McCann, I think I remember more.
The DH is
Josh Bell. Yeah.
I mean,
just on the short list.
night.
On the short list.
Good night.
On the short list.
Oh, yeah. Like if you made this a 5-person list,
Freddie.
Josh Bell.
Let's do it right now. Freddie, Josh Bell,
Chipper Jones,
Andrew Jones, Chipper Jones.
And probably Vlad.
Yeah.
Just from pure, like, all across the board.
Or Rojas. Like,
Rojas was more, like,
he was more just in one place. Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah. And then the two bench, so I told you before the show, I didn't realize I had crazy numbers against him, but he did. Todd Helton.
I didn't realize that either.
Like, crazy good. I read them to you.
That's funny.
I mean, the guy hit almost 400 against him.
Yeah, that's wild.
All right, and then I'm going to give you the one that I can't believe whenever we talked about this, his name doesn't come up because he was an absolute Phillies killer. Like, he probably could fit on the 5, and we could knock one of the other guys out. Forever a Washington National.
Oh,
Ryan.
I was about to say Zimmerman. Yeah.
That guy, like, I still remember clear as day, 2 moments. The first, at Dan Mole's house one summer, I was sitting in the hot tub. I was there with a group of other friends, and we're sitting in the hot tub. I'm listening to the game. It was actually 2011. It was like the night they were set up to clinch.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan Zimmerman comes up and hits a grand slam to tie the game in the top of the 9th with 2 outs.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years before, I was at the game in 2008 when they clinched. And Brad Lidge got him to ground into a double play. And I just sat there. I wouldn't watch because I kept saying to Andrea, he's going to hit a home run. Yeah. He's going to ruin Brad's perfect season. And we're going to have to wait another day to clinch.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow he got him to ground. But yeah, he's right there. That's
a great one. Yep.
Right there on that list. So that's a fun little.
That is a great.
They can all go somewhere.
Yeah, right.
Well, bud.
Good stuff.
That was fun.
That was great.
So you'll be there on Saturday.
I will.
All right. We'll have to keep in touch.
Oh yeah, we're grabbing lunch or something.
Yeah, we got it.
And then we'll see you at the stadium for sure.
Yeah, do you know where you're sitting?
I do.
You know, I mean, you don't have to look. You can tell me after we're done.
I got it right here.
But
just pulling up the ballpark app.
You let me know.
333.
Okay. We're sitting in 320 tomorrow. I have to pull tickets. I'll have to pull up the tickets to see where we are for Saturday. But 320 tomorrow. Almost right behind.
Nice.
So yeah, we'll connect. Maybe we'll do a quick video.
Absolutely.
Twitter for the people. But yeah, let me know when you get into town.
Yeah,
Crawford and I are getting there tomorrow, going to game 1, and then staying over. We're a 15-minute walk from the. So
beautiful.
We'll be having a good time. But until so we still have next week, right? You and me.
Yep.
Okay. Next week we'll talk through how the Phils are doing. We'll highlight anything. There was a little bit of Sixers news that we'll wait on until next week to see if anything comes of it. And when do the Olympics start, Regz?
In a few weeks.
Okay, so we'll have to keep an eye on that too, because we got a guy there. We got a guy
right
there, so we'll have to keep an eye out there. But until next week, when we catch you again, make sure you click subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Do the same wherever you get your podcasts. Follow, rate, share, subscribe, all the things. Head over to social media on Twitter and get us at the Phixated Pod, at the Mic Drop 5, at Big Regz with a Z, and over on Facebook at the Phixated fan page. Make sure you click the merchandise link in the show description. Grab something for yourself. And we will catch you next Thursday night for another episode of the Phixated Podcast. Until then, be good to yourself. Be good to others. We love you guys. We appreciate you listening. And above all else, finish the job, Phils.
Phillies to the moon, baby.
Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.